Hello and welcome back to another part of my tutorial series on Aseprite for beginners. In this video I am going to go over layers and an introduction to the animation. Before I get started, I want to introduce you to our new Kickstarter Fable 4. This is a comic by myself, Jamie Mee and Jonathan Carter. It is about a group of 30-somethings that gamble their savings on an ill-advised adventure. It is full of gaming nostalgia and comedy, with a unique art style for comics. The Kickstarter has some great rewards, from posters and avatars to becoming a character in the comic itself. Please, take some time to check it out. Thank you. So let's get started with layers. First off, let's just show you what these little buttons do. The first button is the visibility. This is used to show and hide the layer. The second option is the lock. This is used to lock the layer so you don't make any mistakes by adding to or deleting from this layer. The next option is linked and unlinked cells. This is mainly for animation, so I will go over this when I get to the animation part. So the layer itself, if you right click, you will get a menu. There are a few things you will be using from this menu, however eventually you'll simply be using all the shortcuts. Let's start off with the first shortcut, Properties. It says Shift P, but that is totally unnecessary. You can simply bring up the properties by double clicking on the layer. The first property is the name. I'm going to call this layer Background. Alongside the name property, there is a little button for user data. Using user data, you can set the color for this layer. This is handy for organization, but not completely necessary. The next property is mode. Now in mode, you can see there is a lot of options. I will be going over these in a future tutorial. And the final option is opacity, which can be very useful for multiple things. So now I have named my layer, I am going to create a new layer. You can simply bring up the menu with the right click, or you can use the shortcut, which is Shift N. Now that I have my new layer, I am going to bring up the properties by double clicking. I am going to name this layer Animation. I'm going to create a simple animation where a single pixel bounces back and forth. I will start with a pixel on the left side, and I want it to go over to the right side and then go back to the left side. As it approaches the right side, I want it to slow down before changing direction and coming back to the left side. And again, slow down and then change direction again to make a seamless loop. So I have my first dot. How do we make this move? To do this, you can go to the frame option at the top and click New Frame, but that can slow down the process way too much. I prefer to use the shortcut Alt-N. So I will use Alt-N, and this will create a new layer by copying the previous layer. Now we have our new frame, let's move the pixel. We can do this by selecting the marquee tool, shortcut M. Drag a selection over the pixel and shift it to the right using the arrow keys on the keyboard. I am going to move it 4 pixels. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can then create another new frame with Alt-N and do the same. 1, 2, 3, 4. However, remember that I wanted it to slow down and speed up, so I will have to move it an extra pixel so that I can show that it's speeding up. Now I have moved it 5 pixels. Another new frame, and this time 6 pixels to speed it up more. And again, this time 7 pixels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And again, this time 8 pixels. This will be the maximum speed that it will go, 8 pixels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. As it approaches the other side, I want it to slow down again. So the next few frames will be 7, 6, 5, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we simply move it back towards the other side again. So new frame, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then back to slowing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't need to do the last 4 pixels because as it loops over back to frame 1, it will be in the position we want it to be. So let's take a quick look at this animation. You can click play or you can press enter. Both options will play the animation. So looking at the animation, we can tell that there is something wrong. As it approaches the left side, it slows down and correctly turns around how we want it. But as it hits the right side, it seems to pause. So let's check out the frames. To cycle through the frames, we use the comma and full stop key. So let's find the frame that's causing the issue. It looks like it's 10 and 11 as they are both identical. Since we don't need both of them, we can delete either one of them. To delete a frame, click on the frame number. Your selection will be marked with a yellow box. I am going to delete frame 10. To delete it, simply hit delete. Now we are down to 18 frames, and there should no longer be a pause in the animation. Much better. So I have noticed another issue here. When the pixel decelerates, it's not as obvious as I would like it to be, so I am going to add in some new frames to slow it down even more. As the animation goes from the last frame to the first frame, I want it to continue decelerating rather than just turning around and accelerating again, so I am going to add 2 new frames. Now the first 3 frames will be identical. On the second frame, I need to now move the pixel just 2 pixels across, and on the third frame, move the pixel 3 pixels across. Now, if I go back to the last frame and cycle to the first frame, and then to the next frame, and the one after, you can see how the gap gets smaller as it slows down. But then, when it goes to frame 4, it makes a massive jump. We have to fill that gap again. Now I am going to add another 2 frames. I want to continue the animation from frame 3. I will click on frame 3 and add 2 new frames. Now instead of moving the pixel, we already know where we want the pixel to be. We want it to cycle back to frame 2 and frame 1. So instead of moving the pixel, we can simply click on frame 2, click on the animation cell, press Ctrl C to copy, click on frame 4 on the animation cell, click on Ctrl V to paste, and now it should have moved the pixel for us. So with frame 2 copied, we now need to copy frame 1. So click the animation cell in frame 1, Ctrl C, take it to frame 5, Ctrl V, and done. Now, let's quickly play the animation. Now the left hand side looks really good. We just need to do the same for the right hand side. So let's locate where it turns. It seems to be frame 14 where it stops and 15 starts going backwards. So at frame 14 we want some new frames to slow it down a little bit more. Go with 2 frames again, so from frame 14 to 15 and 16 they are now identical. So frame 15 we want to change it so that it slows down by 2 pixels, 1, 2, and 16, 3 pixels, 1, 2, 3. And then we need a new frame. Then we can copy frame 15, 17, another new frame, and copy 14 to 18. And now our animation looks much better. It is much more obvious that it decelerates and accelerates, slowing down at either end and then speeding back up. The next thing I want to do is turn this into a loading animation. To do that, I'm going to create a new group. Create a new group, right click on the layer, click on new group, and the layer that you clicked on will be automatically put into that group. I'm going to call this group loading animation. I'm going to add a new layer and call this text. On frame 1 of text, I'm going to insert text loading. Now I want to position this in the middle of the animation. To do so, I'm going to use a trick with onion skinning. Onion skinning at its simplest allows you to see more than 1 frame of animation. When you click onion skinning, you will notice that a boundary appears around some frames. These are the frames that are currently showing. Now I don't need to see the whole loop, all I need to see is it going from the left to the right. To expand what I see with the onion skinning, I hover over the boundary to get the double-sided arrow. I can then click and drag to around 14, which I believe is close to the other side. Now, you may have noticed that I can't really see anything, it just seems to be 3 frames. If we go into the settings, which is the icon next to onion skinning, we have a bunch of properties for the timeline. We have position, which changes the position of the timeline, and we have onion skinning options. Now, to make it more clear so we can see all the other frames, for each step we want the opacity to be higher. As you can see, we can now see more frames, but it's not perfect. So what we need to do is lower down the step. Now we can see all the frames clearly, allowing us to correctly position the loading text. To be fair, I think I did well there. It's pretty much bang smack in the middle, so I'm just going to lower the text down. You can click anywhere to remove the timeline properties. With the layer text selected, I will press V, which will give me the move tool. I will then click left mouse button and hold shift and move down. Now when holding shift, what this does is it keeps it on the axes that you are moving. If you are moving left and right, it won't move vertical. If you are moving up and down, it won't move horizontal. So I'm going to put it about there. I'm now going to turn onion skinning off and hit play to see what happens. The text disappears. That is because it's only on frame 1. Now I don't need to create multiple frames because the text is not changing. the text is staying exactly where it is and there will be no change through the whole animation. So instead of creating multiple animation frames, we can click the first frame and drag all the way to the last frame. Now we can click the right mouse button, bring up the properties and go down to link cells, and now the text will cover the whole animation. We should do this with the background as well. So click on the first frame, drag to the end, right click and click link cells. Now we could have automatically done this from the beginning. To do that automatically and have Aseprite do all this for you, there is a cell symbol next to the layer. We click that and change from single cells or frames to link cells and frames. And now let me show you an example. If I add a frame anywhere in the animation, it will automatically continue both the text and background as linked cells. So here is a new frame. As you can see, it continues along. Linked cells also means that if I change anything on either frame, it will change on all the other linked frames. Let me add another piece of text. Now I have two loadings. I only did this on frame 1, but as you can see, it doesn't matter which frame I am on, the text is still there. Now the animation isn't quite in the center. We need it to come down a little bit on the y-axis. So instead of moving every frame individually or each layer individually, this is where groups come in handy. We have a group now, which groups both the text and the animation together. So if I select the group and hit the V key, which is the move tool, I can then click Alt-Shift and move down, and it will move everything in that group for me, including the whole animation. Thank you for watching. I hope this has helped you understand the basics of layers and animation in Aseprite. Please check back next week where I will go over more advanced animation tools.